why you are not making as many sales in your business as you would like. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how you can create more sales and more momentum in your business without making any extra strategy changes, any new tactics, new productivity hacks, because you don't need any of that. So if you are feeling a little bit stuck, a little bit stagnant in business and things are going slower than you want to, especially when it comes to sales, leads, and overall you're just feeling like there's not as much momentum in business anymore, this is hopefully going to be a video to help you get unstuck from that position. And also know this is not going to be a video that is telling you to work harder, longer, wake up earlier, be more productive, because that, well, first of all, that's not going to help. That sounds exhausting. And again, you don't need any of that with what I'm going to be showing you in this video. The real problem and the real reason why you are stuck and feeling stagnant in business is nothing to do with your strategy, is all to do with your mindset. And I'm going into this specific mindset blocker that's holding you back right now. So just a little bit of a backstory as to how I've, one, realized this, and two, formulated this into a process of how to help you get unstuck in your business. There's been so many times in my business where I have felt stuck, felt stagnant, felt like things aren't moving at the pace that I want to. Weeks, months, no sales, DMs on Instagram are quiet, I'm not really speaking to any potential leads. Overall feeling like business is very, very slow right now. I start to compare myself to other people, other coaches in my niche or field or whatever. And overall, I'm almost slowing down because of that. So I feel negative about business. Because of that negativity, I then slow down. Because I'm then slowing down, it breeds more inaction, and then I feel even more negative over that, and that cycle just repeats itself. Because that cycle is repeating itself, that then causes me to doubt things. Maybe like you're the same. So you can imagine if you're not doing so much in business to create that momentum because you're feeling low, you're not going to get as many results. Because those results aren't coming, you actually doubt things even more. That then makes you feel even flatter, makes you feel like you're even more stagnant than you potentially are. And that then makes you doubt the future of business, whether it's a certain goal that you want to hit that you're not hitting. In essence, you're kind of slowing yourself down. And every single time that I went into that phase, and it could be a day, a week, or even a month of feeling that way, every time I got into that phase religiously, I would instantly focus on, right, what am I doing wrong strategy-wise? Like, what are other people posting content-wise and marketing that they're doing that I'm not? What's wrong with my offer? Is my program any good? Am I actually good at my job? Is that why people aren't buying? Do I need to post more? Do I need to post less? Do I need to speak to different people in a different way? I was micromanaging and over-analyzing every single step in my day-to-day strategy and tactics. And again, that makes you doubt yourself even more because you're nitpicking every single little thing you're doing in day-to-day business. Like, oh, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. And again, that makes you feel like you're not doing a good enough job, which makes you feel even worse. And that cycle repeats itself, right? But this is where the transition happened. And this is the switch. And here, this is the fix. It was my mindset. Every single time I kind of left strategy alone and done what I felt like, I just kind of did the minimum, ticked the boxes and stuff. But when I doubled down on, right, where am I not feeling so confident right now? How is my energy? What is the first thing I'm waking up in the morning thinking about? Am I putting offers out there excited and confident they're going to sell? Or am I putting offers out there that are doubting? Okay, well, let me dive into the doubt a little bit. So in essence, when I dived into my mindset and I started to improve my confidence, improved how I looked at my business and how my opinion was of my business, I started to develop a bit more trust with my future, trust with the goals that I was setting for myself. And I, again, started to feel more confident and in essence, believe that more. That was when I noticed the shift. Now, it wasn't an overnight thing, but that was when the shift occurred and I was making the money that I wanted to make. Leads were coming in. My content was doing its job. Sometimes I'd actually be working less and I was receiving more inquiries. I was getting new people coming through, referrals, because my energy and my confidence and my trust was coming through my content, was coming through my program. That was the shift. Is when I focused on my mindset and not my strategy. When you focus on your mindset and your confidence and your trust, etc., the strategy kind of does itself, if that makes sense. It kind of follows suit. My business and everything, content, offer, it's just an extension of me, my energy, my perspective, my optimism, my confidence. Strategy is then built on top of that. It's really, really hard for you to build a solid business strategy and a business itself on a mindset that's full of doubt, fear, apprehension. And that's potentially where you are right now. Because I was trusting the future more with that confidence and optimism, there was no need to doubt things. Because there was no need to doubt, why would I slow down? I didn't. And that was the momentum that kept me going. But this all comes from that confident perspective first. Nothing to do with strategy changes or waking up earlier or trying the next bit of content, for example. Nothing to do with that. But here's the interesting thing. Some people, maybe you or some people might say to me, or might be thinking like, well, what came first though? Was it the things were actually quiet in business and the market and your content and whatever? Or was it that you were just looking at it negatively and that was what slowed it down? So was it real or was it your perspective? Well, not to get too woo-woo here, but if you think about it, when you feel stuck in business, that is just your perspective. Okay, that is your perspective. There's nothing to do with what the market is doing, nothing to do with how Instagram is pushing your content, nothing to do with how much you're selling your programs for. If you feel stuck and you feel, that's the key word, and you feel like things aren't feeling great in business right now, that is your perspective, period, end of. But the good thing is that can be improved. So in my opinion, it's how you're seeing things, your perspective and your mindset, that is dictating how you're feeling about business, and how you're feeling about business impacts everything else. Your actions or behaviors or decisions, the amount you charge, the offers you put out there, everything. It's mindset and perspective first, and then everything else falls into place. And I'm just going to double down on this because of my personal story. You've probably been here once or twice, or maybe you've been in here for a while, and you've looked at strategy, you've invested in the business mentorship, you've tried doing ads, you've tried doing like different types of reels, you've tried working longer and harder. What does it do? It just burns you out. It doesn't actually bear any more fruit for you. And actually, I see this with some of my clients or people I've worked with. When you feel like you have to work harder and longer to make more success, you're actually starting to turn that into a belief. You're telling your subconscious, hey, in order for us to succeed, we need to work harder and longer, okay? What's the problem with that? Well, can you imagine when you have your holiday in the summer, when you switch off at Christmas, your weekends, your evenings, when you're wanting to slow down a little bit, your subconscious says, whoa, 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 we believe that we need to work harder for success. You're going to fail if you slow down. Maybe that's why you burn yourself out and you can't switch off in the evenings or you can't switch off at the weekends, because you're starting to believe now that success requires really, really, really hard work. Well, yeah, hard work is great, but what then happens when you want to slow down and actually enjoy the life that you've built outside of business? You feel like you're failing, which doesn't feel very good. So we're going to go through an exercise right now, and feel free to grab a pen and paper. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions here that I want you to write down. Feel free to pause the video with each question. I'm just going to look at my notes here. And this is going to allow us to get clear on what it is you're doubting. There's a reason why you're slowing yourself down. There's a reason why you're not fully pushing. And with me asking you some of these questions, we're going to get clear on that doubt and then attack it and shift that perspective. Okay, so we're going to dive into the exercise now, and there's 3 questions I'm going to read from my notes here. And these 3 questions are going to allow us to get super, super clear on what we're not doing, what it's stopping us from doing, and why we're doubting it, okay? So the first question, I want you to write down the thing you're putting off, or things you keep on putting off. So what are you struggling to stay consistent with? What ideas do you have that you just keep on shying away from? What do you keep stopping yourself from doing? Write down that one or couple of things that you know you should be doing, but you're not. Maybe they're the things that are really going to help you. So just get clear on that first of all. Second question here, once you've got that, write down what that's stopping you from doing. So is it stopping you from making more money? Is it stopping you from having more fun in business? Is it stopping you from reaching a new target audience? Who knows? I want you to get clear on what that's stopping you from doing. The third question here, and here's one I want you to spend some time, and you're probably not going to know the answer straight away, so take your time with this one. I want you to write down why you're avoiding that work. I want you to write down why you're not doing it. What do you think you might be afraid of? Is there anything that might happen if you was to do it that you don't want to happen? Maybe you're afraid people will judge you. Maybe you're afraid it's not going to work, so you might fail, and that's going to disappoint you. Like, I want you to spend a minute or two here just having a little think. You might not know the answer straight away. Why are you putting it off? And just write down whatever comes to mind. So after you've done those 3 questions, you are now going to have a bit more of a clearer understanding on your doubtful perspective. That's the real reason why you're not, being more consistent and having the right energy, which is having a knock-on effect to your sales and making money in business. Now you are clearer on the doubt. So just having a look at the page in front of you or your answers to those questions, I want you to understand that there is a version of you that is absolutely soaring with business, who's making the sales, doubling the income, being invited out to events or talks or hosting your own retreat or launching the venture, whatever that thing is. there's a version of you that's doing that, and they're doing that because they're not trusting the doubt. They're not believing the doubts that are in front of you. They're challenging them. They're challenging those doubts, and they fully back themselves to push. Because the question here is, if you fully trusted yourself to make this work, you wouldn't doubt it. And if you don't doubt it, what's the reason for you to slow down and not trust yourself? Like, it doesn't exist. You'd be pushing and going all in. And that's the reason why you're slowing down and not making the amount of money you want to make in business. So we need to challenge it, and that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to dive into this second exercise, and this is the trust building exercise. And that's hopefully going to get us to that point where we're thinking, do you know what? I fully back myself to do this. I've got a lot of optimistic energy here, a lot of positivity, so I'm just going to push. I feel confident. That's the energy we want going into business. So the second exercise, the trust building exercise now, I want you to write down an answer. Why should you trust yourself to make this work? Whether it's making double your income in the next few months or next year, whether it's launching that event or that venture or new offer, whatever that thing is, why should you trust yourself to make this work? And I want you to write down as many answers to that question as possible. After you've done that, question number 2, what's the best thing that can happen here if you push? What is the best case scenario? What opportunities might come from this? Because we're not often thinking about that. As humans, we often think the worst. So I want you to write down what's the best thing that could potentially happen here. Question number 3 here. Even if things didn't go to plan, how would you bounce back? You know, what would your plan be to gain momentum again? Who would you turn to for support? You know, what would you actually do? Because often when we're scared, we're not planning for events like that. So if things didn't go to plan, what would you do? That's the third question. And the last question here to wrap everything up, now that you've got a bit more trust in yourself with that first question, you've got a better perspective of the second question of what's the best thing that can happen. And the last question you just answered was like your backup plan if things didn't go to plan, right? So the fourth question here to lock this in and wrap everything up and allow you to move forward. From this video, what is one action step or big, bold move or thing you're going to get your teeth into next that's going to allow you to move forward with the hesitations you've been putting off? What is that one thing you can do as of today, tomorrow, whenever it is? Can we lock that in ASAP? Because again, the version of you that's winning is doing that thing that you've just answered that question with. So what's one action step you can lock in to now push because you're trusting yourself more? Now, what we've just done is challenged your doubt, built self-trust, and now we've got a solid plan to lock in with to enable you to trust yourself more. And you and your business have no choice other than to grow because you've just got clear on what you want to do next with this newfound trust. It has no option to grow. This is going to start to recode your belief systems. And that's kind of what I do in mindset coaching in my program, is we start to recode belief systems for business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself. We've already started that now with this video, you know, challenging your doubt, feeling more trusting. You're recoding what you believe about yourself and what you believe about your business. This is a massive, positive and optimistic step. So just to wrap things up, I hope this video has been helpful. Going forward, challenge your doubts, build trust within yourself and get clear on, okay, what's the next step that's going to help me move forward with this? Lock it in, act on that. And you're just going to start to act like the version of you who just faces hurdles and overcomes them every single time. Okay, so I hope this video has been helpful for you, sorry. If you feel like you want to dive a little bit deeper into recoding your belief systems, feeling more confident in things, having that positive and optimistic energy, and you want to dive into that a little bit more, underneath this video in the description, there is a link to a free 20 minute training all around how to break through your current business limits by recoding your belief systems. It's a really, really good video, completely for free. Just tap the link below. And I will hopefully see you in the next video. I hope this is helpful. Have a good rest of your day.